Our economy is fueled by dynamic workplaces where the impossible becomes possible, where individuals reach their full potential. SHRM impacts the lives of 115 million workers and their families every day. And together, we can build a world of work that works for all. That is our vision: to advocate for better policies, elevate human resources, and develop stronger managers. Still, the workplace needs work. By creating better workplaces, we are truly creating a better world. One person can cause an effect. One person in HR can challenge outdated hiring practices, champion modern benefits, advocate for pay equity, and turn jobs into careers. HR empowers others to not only dream of change, but to create it. The actions of a few affect the lives of many. Join SHRM today to cause the effect you wish to see in the workplace.
Our folks here have over 20 plus years experience. We provide two main areas: express requests, which is a compilation of all various topics. You can actually save a lot of time by asking one of our advisors to do some research for you, to bounce off an idea, to find out latest current employer practices.
We talk about every topic imaginable under the umbrella of human resources. Among the most popular would be the Family and Medical Leave Act, the exemption status, questions about the salary basis. The questions go on and on. We could talk about many more of them. And if you want to do that, don't forget one of the prime benefits of being a SHRM member, the HR Knowledge Center.
Hello and welcome to the second annual Better Workplaces Challenge Cup. I'm Guillermo Correa, Managing Director of SHRMLabs, SHRM's Workplace Innovation Lab and arm. Thank you for joining us this evening, and a very special thanks to Portland Human Resources Management Association, SHRM San Diego, and SHRM NorCal for being our co-host for this segment of the competition. Before we get going with the competition, we have a couple of special guests for some words that they'd like to say. So please help me in welcoming to the stage. First, Patty Cuthill, President of San Diego SHRM. And next up, Gina Ayon, Executive Director of SHRM NorCal. So ladies, welcome to the stage. First, let's go with Patty. How about, let's give her the stage and let's hear what's going on with San Diego SHRM.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Guillermo. Super excited to be here. San Diego SHRM, of course, coming out of the pandemic, we're really growing and doing great in terms of just impacting the community. On behalf of San Diego SHRM, I'd like to welcome everyone. I'm super excited to see what this year's ideas are. And, I want to thank everyone for sharing your gifts and talents to empower people to advance the world of work through your innovative ideas. And I'm futuristic, so I just can't wait to see what you guys have to come up with. So thank you again for sharing your gifts and talents.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Patty, and great seeing you and having San Diego co-host with us again this year. And, hopefully, next year you guys will be back. All right, let's bring Gina up on the stage.
Thank you, Guillermo. And I'm so excited to partner with Portland and San Diego. It's always great to have the other chapters in the state to be able to do things together. And Guillermo, this is our second time around. So thank you for having us again. We had such a great time last year. So I'm so looking forward to hearing all of these innovative ideas and actually things we can do to improve our workplaces. So looking forward to it. A little bit about SHRM Northern California. The unique thing about SHRM Northern California is when you join SHRM in the greater San Francisco Bay Area, you automatically get the SHRM Northern California benefits as part of your membership. So it's kind of like a SHRM, it's an enhanced member benefit. So you get the kind of the best of both worlds. So it's kind of exciting with that. Lots of great programming coming up in April. So just check it out on shrmnorcal.org. And lastly, last month, we did a really great program and partnered with SHRMLabs, and it was such a great event. Unfortunately, it had to be virtual because, of course, because of COVID, but we are looking forward to partnering a couple more times this year. So look forward to seeing all the great things that we can do together. And so with that, I'm so happy that you guys all joined us, and I know you're going to be you're in for a great time this evening. And so thank you for being with us. And I'll turn it back to you, Guillermo.
Excellent. Thank you. And just to reiterate what Gina was saying about, the virtual event that we had, we initially planned it out to be in person. We were all going to be at the Salesforce Tower and everything. And unfortunately, just because of the pandemic, we weren't able to do it. But our plan is that we're going to be doing quarterly events out there in Silicon Valley and, bringing together the people who know the workplace best, HR practitioners, and the innovators that are out there. So, all right, thank you very much, Gina. And I guess we'll get going here. All right. All right, excellent. So given the state of workplaces in the world today, this year's competition continues to be just as timely as last year's. Remote work, the skills shortage, mental health, and the great resignation are driving the workplace to new heights of innovation. And innovation is the key reason why SHRM launched this competition. The Better Workplaces Challenge Cup is a pitch competition to find the innovators that are solving the most critical workplace challenges. And this year, the competition will be global, as we will have competition rounds in the US, Europe, Latin America, Middle East, Africa, and Asia Pacific as well. This is actually the 5th of 10 first round segments of the competition. From here, the top 2 companies will be advancing to the 2 semifinal rounds. And then the top 2 companies from each semifinal round will advance to the finals, which will be held at SHRM's annual conference and Exposition, the largest gathering of HR professionals. And this year it's happening in New Orleans, and we hope you're going to be able to join us. So today you're going to hear from 6 very exciting startups. Each company is going to provide a 3-minute pitch, and afterwards, they will have a 3-question-and-answer session with our judges. These companies are going to be judged on the following criteria. So number 1, is this a business able to grow to positively affect the lives and work of millions of employees? Number 2, is this a business that will create better workplaces where both employers and employees thrive together? Because you have to have a balance between the 2 of them. And then finally, number 3, you guys are HR professionals. SHRM, is this a business that will provide value to SHRM members and their companies by helping HR professionals become more efficient and strategic? Once the pitches are completed, the judges will deliberate and choose the top 2 companies that will be advancing to the semifinals. Also, please note that this event qualifies for 2 PDCs towards your SHRM CP or SCP certification, and we're going to be providing the code at the end of the event. So now please help me in welcoming our judges for today. First up, we have Sarah Calfee, Principal Consultant with Calfee HR Consulting and President-elect of San Diego SHRM. Hello, Sarah. Great to see you again, and welcome to the stage. Next up, we have Crystal Granger, Senior HR Benefits Administrator at Bob's Red Mill Natural Foods and Board Member of Portland SHRMA. Welcome to the stage, Crystal.
Thank you.
And then last but not least, Mariel Smith, VP of People at Narvar and Chair of the SHRM NorCal Advisory Group. Welcome to the stage, ladies, and great to have you with us. All right, so I think we're now ready to roll with the competition. So let's go ahead and get started and bring our first participant, Pillar, up to the stage.
Hi, I'm Mark Simpson, and I'm the founder and CEO of Pillar. And I'm here to tell you that CEOs are lying to their companies because they've been telling their teams for years that people are the most important parts of their businesses. Yet for decades, they've been underinvesting in their people, and it's now causing huge problems. Things like 50% of everybody hired is not in their role 12 months later. And this is costing companies billions of dollars annually. Pillar's aim is to fix this because we believe that people are the most important part of a business. And our purpose is to help companies grow through hiring the best. So how do we solve these problems? Well, we have three areas where we help, the three pillars of Pillar. The first is interview intelligence, where Pillar provides everything a hiring manager needs to run efficient, effective, and equitable hiring processes. Pillar significantly speeds up the hiring, saves money on costly mishires, and increases candidate acceptance rates while giving hiring managers much more certainty in selecting the right candidates. The second area is interview coaching, because no one has ever been trained on how to be a great interviewer. Pillar provides in-app coaching and guidance so everyone can become a pro interviewer, ensuring better feedback for the hiring manager and delivering a great candidate experience. The third area is DEI, because Pillar unlocks the black box that is the interview, providing complete transparency through the process and enabling fair and unbiased interviewing. Pillar is actively used to advocate for the right candidate, no matter their social or ethnic background. The results of what we do are phenomenal. Customers are seeing that recruiters and hiring teams are more engaged with their candidates. We've cut time to hire significantly, and candidate acceptance rates have gone through the roof. Now, I wanted to take a moment to thank SHRM for this opportunity, because I believe we share the same mission. We're aiming to create better workplaces, and at Pillar, we're doing this by enabling companies to grow better with every hire. We believe we're solving a very big and very human problem, something that's been plaguing us for decades.
All right, great presentation, Mark, and welcome to the stage. And for this round, Sarah, you want to go ahead and get us started?
Sure. Hi, Mark.
Hi there, Sarah.
I have a few questions. Let's see. I want to ask about the DEI component. You said that it provides more transparency and helps remove more the biased decisions driving towards the best candidate for the job. How does it do that?
Yeah, we do so through two really big areas and then a few sort of ancillary parts as well. But firstly, we have now algorithms that are running through interviews that we're seeing, and they're used to train people to make interviews much more inclusive. So we're detecting questions that people should never ask in interviews and training that out of people. And we're looking at kind of the sentiment of interviews to make sure that people are running inclusive interviews rather than ones that may deter sort of diverse diverse candidates. The second area we help is we are providing automatically created highlights of interviews around people's skills. So maybe someone doesn't have the perfect Harvard resume, but they have the skills for the role. And hiring managers and people through the interview process can use these kind of minute sort of highlight clips in order to support diverse candidate hiring, rather than just use kind of the static resume when they're proposing to hire individuals. So two very powerful ways.
Excellent. Second question over to you, Crystal.
Thank you. One of the statistics that you shared about the problem was along the lines of 50% of hired candidates are not in their roles 12 months later. I'm wondering if Pillar tracks that data to ensure that the candidates that are hired through this platform are in their roles, and what if you have any statistics around that?
Yeah, we do actually. So we're tracking actually through the process. So we don't just end when people are hired, but we're looking at first reviews and reviews through to performance once people are in the role. ultimately, we want to help companies hire better, not just hire. We want to get the right candidate into the role for the benefit of the company, but also for the benefit of the candidates as well, so they're matched with better jobs. So we are taking performance data back from our customers through their review processes at 6 months and 12 months. So we're seeing whether people are staying in the role, but also their performance. So we can then tie that back into the interview to train in the future for better interviews for that business.
And next question over to you, Mariel.
Thank you, Guillermo. Mark, thank you so much for your pitch. Having a background in talent acquisition, I'm really excited about the product. One of the things that I think is a big pain point for a lot of talent acquisition and human resources teams is the kind of plethora of systems that we're all using. I'm curious what kind of integrations you either have in place right now or foresee with Pillar.
Yeah, thank you, Mariel. So one of the core principles when we started the business that we don't just want to add another system. So we are fully integrated with most of the major ATSs now. Actually, for talent acquisition teams, because interviewers are using Pillar live in their interviews, hiring managers are using Pillar to play videos back to back, sort of sharing and reviewing sort of candidate interviews and candidate highlights. What we're actually doing is we're tying that back into the ATS. So we're automatically getting people's feedback, getting people's scorecards, which they're scoring within the interview, and pushing that back into ATSs and other systems that people are using. Equally, we're pulling the data from those ATSs as well. So whereas hiring managers, interview teams really don't like using ATSs and kind of the hiring tools that talent acquisition teams do, we're actually, for the first time, tying together systems they do like using so that talent acquisition teams get the benefit of all the data collection they need in the places that they like using themselves. So integration and working within the current workflow is a key principle behind us when we started Pillar.
All right. Excellent. Thank you very much. And Mark, while the judges write down some notes, do you want to tell attendees where they can find out more information about Pillar?
Yeah, absolutely. So very, very, very simple. If you go to our website, www.pillar.hr, that's where you can find out all the information about Pillar. Yeah, we welcome seeing you there.
All right. Excellent. Thank you very much, Mark, for being here. All right, let's go on to our second participant. Next up, we have Tall Poppy.
Hi, my name's Lee Honeywell. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Tall Poppy. We're more online than ever, and we're public about where we work. Our digital presence is an asset to our organizations, but when external bad actors attack, those who are the biggest assets are the most visible targets. These are your tall poppies. Online harassment is a super common problem affecting 2 in 5 Americans. For 1 in 4, it escalates to stalking, physical threats, sexual harassment, or sustained harassment. Marginalized employees are disproportionately harmed. For example, 68% of LGBTQ Americans have been harassed online. These external attacks can have wide-ranging consequences. Folks get burnt out and miss work. When an employee is targeted, account takeovers and physical threats can compromise not only their security, but also your organization's. Without protection and support, employees even leave jobs over these issues. Online harassment sits at the intersection of HR, information security, and inclusion, but it's outside the expertise of any one of these teams. This makes employee personal security a challenge for organizations. If an employee came to you tomorrow and told you they were being stalked online as a result of their work, what would you do? At Tall Poppy, we help companies make digital safety part of company culture. By helping employees be proactive in their personal security practices, companies can help prevent the worst harms from online harassment and foster a culture of support and psychological safety. I'm an internationally known personal security expert, and my co-founder, Erica, has nearly 2 decades of software development experience. Together, we've built the tools you need to keep your employees safe from online harassment. Here's how it works. We onboard folks with a live training that makes the connection between these nebulous threats and the concrete steps they can take to protect themselves online. We support these steps with our beautiful, easy-to-use personal safety app, and we back them up with compassionate, trauma-informed incident response services should one of them experience harassment. Think of us like a proactive, holistic personal security EAP for your team. For your tallest poppies, executives, streamers, influencers, and other highly visible folks, we have a one-on-one concierge security service that does a deeper dive into personal security practices. Our customers range from small consultancies, startups, and studios to the largest tech platforms. We help them keep their employees safe from personal security threats. You don't need to take my word for it, though. Our clients themselves say how much we've helped them feel safer online and as public figures, and how much our support has meant to their organizations. People sometimes feel hopeless in the face of personal security threats, but you can protect your tall poppies and protect your organizations. So thanks for listening, and please don't hesitate to reach out if internet jerks come knocking at your virtual doors.
All right. Great presentation, Lee, and welcome to the stage.
Thank you.
For this round, Crystal, how about if you get us going with the questions?
Of course. Thank you so much for pitching your concept to us. Can you describe what a compassionate, trauma-informed incident response service would look like?
Well, so I don't know how many of you have ever had to work with a corporate security team, and I say this with love as a former corporate security person, but we're not exactly known for our bedside manner and the sort of classic, like you go to the security team with a problem that's maybe a little adjacent to work, or even with a problem that's at work. Oh my gosh, you clicked on that link? Like that when somebody's already dealing with being really upset and feeling really vulnerable, it's exactly the wrong approach. So we come at things just a totally different angle. The focus is really on that sort of bedside manner in how we work with people that are facing online harassment, instead of, oh my gosh, why did you click on that link? Or why aren't you using password manager? It's like, hey, so this is the problem. I want to validate what you're feeling. This sucks. This is really freaky. We're going to figure out how to make you safe again.
Mariel, next question over to you.
Thanks, Guillermo, and thanks, Lee. Really enjoyed the presentation and very curious about the offering. Curious when you're thinking about how, like if you were selling this solution to me, would, we have a almost 400 number employee population globally. Would you be recommending that I provide this as a service to everybody at the organization? Or would it be like a very point solution for just certain individuals? How would the pricing work? I'm just trying to imagine like what would the engagement be with you if we were thinking about partnering.
Yeah, so we heavily discount for larger engagements with the sort of understanding of if you're bringing it in for a critical public-facing team, that's just fundamentally going to be a higher sort of degree of risk than if it's the whole organization. Bob in accounting is always the one that he's always my example. Bob in accounting has a nasty breakup and is dealing with a bunch of stalking and harassment from his ex. Like that, is a thing that happens, and it's not because he's a public facing part of the company, but it still impacts his ability to bring his full self to work. It is also sort of where we break into the, are we going to identify key folks within the organization who are particularly exposed? Maybe it's the CEO during an IPO, maybe it's a set of the leadership team, maybe it's a particularly controversial policymaker, something like that, where it makes sense to do that sort of hands-on personal security work through the concierge product. But typically, we start with a sort of 20-person engagement as a minimum, so team level, all the way up to working with entire organizations.
And Sarah, last question over to you.
Hi, Lee. So what I'm wondering, kind of similar to that, is how do you see your end game for Tall Poppy? Are you going to be a standalone service that you offer? Is it going to be something that you do in partnership with something like an EAP, or how is it going to integrate?
I just want to say it's so nice to not have to explain what an EAP is to people. It's like the hardest, like it's so clear that we're a cybersecurity EAP. And if I'm talking to investors or whatever, they're like EAP. So I think the long-term vision, we think that there's a real gap in the personal cybersecurity market that goes beyond just this sort of specific workplace thing that we're doing, where it's, workplaces where this is an issue. And so we're actually going to be launching a waitlist for a consumer-facing product in the next couple of weeks. And we think that there's an interesting offering that one of my sort of joking phrases is like LifeLock for millennials that actually does something. So it goes beyond just the specific focus on online harassment and also touches on identity theft and all of the sort of classic like cybercrime issues. So stay tuned for that. We definitely are starting to explore partnerships with benefits providers as sort of channel partnerships. We're just starting to build up the sales team right now. So it's all been me so far. But once we have some more capacity there, starting to bring on those partnerships to be able to increase the pipeline is a big piece of the picture.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Lee. And while the judges write down some notes, how can attendees find out more about Tall Poppy?
So I posted some info in the chat. We are at tallpoppy.com. We're super stoked to get the .com. And we're at Tallpoppy HQ on most social networks, I think everywhere at this point, most active on Twitter.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much for being here. All right, let's go on to our third participant, Hermes.
Hermes is reducing distributed workforce isolation and increasing employee engagement. Hi, I'm Mohan, co-founder and CEO of Hermes. In my previous life at Facebook, I built out the HR systems and reported to the CIO. My co-founder Madhu is the CTO who started Passage AI that was later acquired by ServiceNow. And Mike is our Chief Customer Officer. As a team, we have the industry, product, and technology experience to build a user-friendly and deeply intelligent product designed to increase engagement. I often get asked how I would describe employee engagement. I think of it as an emotional commitment of an employee to their organization, its goals, and their colleagues. Pandemic or not, distributed teams are here to stay. And keeping a distributed team together and engaged is several times harder than with in-person teams, as the traditional tools for employee engagement like lunches, micro kitchens, etc. are no longer applicable. But engagement is not transactional. It has to be a deliberate exercise, starting from onboarding to team celebrations to daily meetings and employee training. There are several opportunities for an employee to connect with the company and peers. Hermes is a solution over video to enable an ongoing engagement without requiring the employees to change their daily workflow. It includes activities like speed networking, trivia, breakout sessions, escape room, and many more. And templates for different types of use cases with recommended agendas. And metrics at event level, at tournament level, and at organizational level, providing predictive analytics. Hermes is a complete solution for enabling employee engagement in a distributed organization. Hermes has already been used for 1.85 million minutes by over 128,000 users for an impressive 24 minutes per session. Not only that, 85% of our customers like the experience they have gotten so far. With over 20 customers that are large enterprises and fast growth startups, enterprise integrations, security, and certifications is an important focus at Hermes. We are a young startup with seed funding from Array Ventures, TrueBlue Partners, ZoomApps Fund with healthy traction and efficient capital management. Thank you. Hermes, reducing isolation and increasing engagement.
All right, great presentation and welcome to the stage, Mohan. And for this round, Mariel, how about you get us going with the questions?
Thanks, Guillermo, and thanks, Mohan. Really enjoyed the pitch. As an HR leader with a distributed workforce globally, this is definitely in my sweet spot of things that I'd love to have. I love the way that it's kind of looking at that intersection between Zoom, like our Zoom lives, and all these other efficiencies, especially some of those templates I saw. Really exciting. I'm curious, how this would, I hate to talk about integrations, but I feel like, obviously there's a Zoom integration, but what about like G Suite? And what's the plan? What's the go-to-market plan right now?
Yeah, no, a very good question. We actually have a bunch of different integrations already in place. We have G Suite integration, Slack integration, and Okta, Auth0, single sign-on integration already. And many of the companies that are using us are using these integrations. There are a lot of different ways we can actually enhance where we are right now with a few more integrations with Workday and other big HR systems. That is definitely in plan for us. But it'll always be driven by what the customers are asking, and we'll be definitely doing it what makes most sense for the customers. But thank you for Marielle. That's awesome. I'm glad that you really love what we are trying to do. So thank you.
All right. Next question over to Sarah.
Hi, Mohan. Engagement obviously in this remote work environment is huge, and there were things that you were going through that I was like, I would have liked to have done that, could have used that, a lot of opportunities. So there's a lot of opportunity there, but what do you see as your biggest barrier to success right now?
I think a very good question, right? The biggest barrier to success right now is making sure that the people that we talk to are already in the mindset that they really need a solution for employee engagement. I think there is a lot of there's this whole notion of, hey, is the budget there for it, right? Trying to convince that the budget needs to be carved out, or having a conversation of, hey, we use Teams. So do you have a solution for that? Yes, we do. So I think there are all of these back and forth conversations that we have to have, and then a mindset by the leader that this is something that they really want to invest in. And that comes with a lot of education and a lot of conversations that we have with the leaders. And many of them are, they have first conversations, and there are people who really like, yeah, I love it. And many of them are, yes, so let me think about it. So we are in various stages of conversation with various leaders. Yeah, absolutely. So there are people who don't realize that it's a pain point as yet. And, we have talked to so many leaders, and many of them still are under the impression that life will be back to normal once the pandemic restrictions are lifted. But I hear some other leaders who are saying that, no, it's not going to be. So there is that other angle as well, where people are thinking that, hey, you know what, with a flip of a switch, we will be back to normalcy, and we will be back to the same old life that we were in back in early 2020.
Yeah, good luck with that.
All right, last question over to you, Crystal.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really like your product. I do feel though that we have to address like Zoom fatigue and technology fatigue. So how is your company thinking about those things as you kind of create a new platform to stay engaged?
Fantastic question. In fact, that's exactly what, our first product that we built out was for team building. And quickly, as talking to our customers, we realized that team building is great, but what is needed is something that is needed in a daily workflow. So what we are doing is trying to make your existing workflows more effective, more efficient. We have heard of people doing these meetings where they're attending meetings because meetings have been scheduled, but some of the things that we have been talking to the leaders are trying to figure out how can we make these meetings more effective with defined templates, and those templates will also sort of get everybody to the good habits of running the meetings efficiently, because the best thing that you can give to your employees is the time back, and not taking all the 45 minutes of a meeting and getting it done in 30 minutes, right? Capturing the meeting minutes, making sure that you're getting the action items assigned, and so on and so forth. So the focus is to not add yet another thing on top of what you're doing already, but be in your existing workflow.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mohan. And while the judges write down some notes, how can attendees find out more about Hermes?
Yeah, so I just posted the link to our website, www.shrm.is, in the chat. And, people can hit me up, or my co-founder Madhu on LinkedIn. My name is Mohan Gumalam, and my co-founder's name is Madhu Matihalli.
And I will post those links as well in the chat.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much for being here. All right, let's bring up our fourth participant, Twine.
Hello, SHRM. My name is Lawrence Coburn. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Twine, a new platform for employee connection and belonging in the age of remote and distributed teams. Our core use cases are onboarding, all-hands meetings, and internal events. The easiest way to think about Twine is as a way to recreate the conversations that used to happen in the hallway and the lobby of your office, the conversations that led to camaraderie and culture and ultimately retention. These conversations are no longer happening, so you have to be a little intentional. That's why there's companies like Twine. We are an early stage company. We're about 15 employees spread over 4 countries and 13 cities. We've raised some money. We have about 75 customers, including some big ones like eBay, Microsoft, Amazon, Google. Early data from our product suggests high engagement and lots of need. The macro trend that we're betting on is remote work. We don't think this genie is going back in the bottle. Ultimately, we think the talent will decide where they want to work. The question for employers is, do you want to hire the best people within 30 miles of your office, or do you want to hire the best people in the world? We think we know the answer to that question. Let me follow up with a quick case study. So we work closely with Microsoft on their new hire onboarding program. In the old days before COVID, Microsoft would walk their new employees through the office to meet the folks they needed to know to do their job. Now that's not happening, so they're putting them through Twines. Using Twine, they're able to ensure every new hire feels like they're part of something. They meet other members of their new hire cohort, they meet existing employees, they even meet executives. So this is a program that we're very, very excited about. I'll end with a little breaking news. A couple of weeks ago, we announced the acquisition of a secretive early stage company that has had special access to Zoom breakout room APIs. They've been able to build a feature that allows us to bring serendipity into any Zoom meeting. This is a first of its kind feature. There's a wait list of 1,300 companies waiting for access. We believe this is our special unfair advantage to grow really quickly. Let me end with a couple of quick closing thoughts. So experts are predicting that 36 million Americans will be working remotely by the year 2025. This is a big national problem. Twine can impact millions. Employers crave committed, loyal workforces, and workers crave connection and camaraderie. Everybody wants to feel part of something. Now, for SHRM members, we think that Twine is a way to focus on the most important problem that's facing your employer, the Great Resignation. My name is Lawrence Coburn. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Twine. I look forward to getting to know you all better.
All right. Great presentation, Lawrence, and welcome to the stage. And for this round, Sarah, you want to go ahead and get us started?
Sure. Hi, Lawrence.
Hi, Sarah.
When and this is an issue, I think, for anyone in this kind of competition, is that you might be just adding one more thing to a company, one more platform, et cetera. So what savings or cost replacement do you see that an organization would have using Twine?
Yeah, so this is a great question. So first I want to talk about philosophy. So we have a core design principle of portability at Twine. So we want to go where the work is already happening. So one example of that is the Zoom app that has just been approved by Zoom. It's the first app in the world built on Zoom breakout room APIs. What's coming next? Slack is in review right now. So a Slack app that's going to live within Slack. And then finally, Microsoft Teams will be the next system in our queue. So that's sort of the first thought, which is we believe in portability, go where the work is happening. So agree with you totally on that point. The second question around cost savings. So we have talked to hundreds of people leaders in this space, and the ones that care about camaraderie, connection, serendipity have to work very hard to make that happen. We just spoke to a company that has 10 full-time employees that work the breakout rooms in Zoom to make sure the right people are matched with the other right people. You can imagine recruiting, onboarding, these sorts of things. Wow. So right off the bat, they saw our product and like, okay, we can find other things for these 10 people to do. Because what we do is we do matchmaking at scale automated, automatic, and it's a big time saver.
Thank you.
Great. Next question over to you, Crystal.
Thank you so much. I'll keep mine simple. Does your platform integrate with large HRIS systems like ADP, where you're going to be pulling that information from to create that magic in those breakout sessions?
Yeah, that's a great question. So initially, our integrations are focused on the big systems, sort of the big work systems like Zoom, Slack, Teams. Our next set of integrations revolve around single sign-on so that employees don't have to log into a new system. Their credentials just pass through. But we are in discussions with some of the purpose-built systems close to what we do, particularly our workflows around onboarding. So those integrations are to come. But if you believe in portability like we do, we have to invest heavily in integrations because nobody wants to be logging into another system or doing multiple work streams.
Okay. And last question over to Mariel.
Thanks, Lawrence. Certainly a big problem for us distributed workforce companies. I'm curious, is there any sort of asynchronous component to this because many workforces are global, or is this just for live interactions?
Yeah, so this is $1 billion question. So I can tell you're an expert user here. So the debate between async and sync, asynchronous and synchronous, is raging right now among remote first companies, right? There's a lot of power in synchronous. You can get to context and meaning, knowledge transfer faster with synchronous, but it's also expensive. It takes everybody's time at the same time. So we've started with synchronous, but we are very open-minded about the power of asynchronous. Our first foray into async is going to be our Slack app, which will basically turn the keys to Twine over to any employee so they can turn asynchronous chat into synchronous conversation. So it's a baby step in the direction of async. But we are also looking at things like automated reminders from network graphs that we can produce that show where the connections are within an org. Are your sales and marketing teams talking? Are your product and engineering teams talking? So this is more of an asynchronous content delivery that shows sort of context for the case for Twine. But awesome question. It's one sort of we're following every single day.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Lawrence, for being here. And while the judges write down some notes, how can attendees find out more about Twine?
Sure. So the website is twine.nyc. My colleague Ann is posting that in the chat. On Twitter, we are Twine. And my personal email address is lawrence@twine.nyc. We would love to hear from you.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you very much for being here. All right. Let's go on to our fifth participant, Humexa.
Hello, my name is Carolyn Peer, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Humexa. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Max. Max is our AI assistant that predicts and prevents the issues that lead to workforce turnover. There's not a day that goes by you don't hear the words Great Resignation in the news. But did you know that 38 million US workers quit just last year? Why are they quitting? How do you get workers to talk about what's making them want to quit? Things like implicit bias or their mental health or their poor job performance are hard to talk about. How do you get them to talk about it? Max knows how. Max is our AI assistant. In this example, Max is talking about job growth and says, there are some bots that feel the glass is half empty and some feel it's half full, but what about you? How do you feel about your job growth? I'm going to say, I'm not sure. Max says, okay, thanks for your answer. Would you like to write a few words detailing why? I say, I'm doing okay, but I feel like I've been doing the same job forever. I want to keep it anonymous. I go ahead and hit submit, and Max says, maybe I can help. Our friends at Talent Magnet offer an e-learning course on leadership to help you accelerate your professional development. Would you like to start? This is just one example. From a leadership perspective, Max will warn you about issues when data starts to go the wrong direction. Our client feedback tells the whole story. Their workers are 50 to 75% more likely to respond to Max than any kind of survey, and they see about $48,000 a year cost savings per 100 employees. We recently won one of Talent Culture's HR Tech Awards for 2022, and we have nothing but 5-star reviews. Our founders have 20 years of experience in the industry. I got my start at a small HR tech startup called ProBusiness. We grew the company. It was acquired by ADP. I left in 2017 to found Humaxa with my co-founder, Guillermo Borges. The workforce insight market remains fragmented, but almost all competitors use surveys. This gives us opportunity to compete. Our vision is to be SaaS for workplace assistance. This category is growing at almost 40% year over year, and we charge $4 per person per month. Remote work has accelerated our growth. We've 10x'd our revenue from 2020 to 2021. We have over $750,000 in committed ROIs. So Humaximize your workforce. Join us. We're raising $1.2 million, and we recently found out that we're being backed by SRI, Stanford Research Institute, the people that built Siri and sold it to Apple. Thank you. I look forward to your questions.
All right, and welcome to the stage, Caroline. And by the way, I have to say, fantastic way of pronouncing Guillermo. You like get the gold star. Nobody has done it better than you, I gotta say. All right.
It helps when your co-founder's named Guillermo.
Yeah. All right, so for this round, Crystal, you want to go ahead and get us started?
Yeah, thank you so much for pitching your concept to us. My question was about the anonymous capabilities of your platform and how it sent a potential training or, leadership opportunity to that client. I feel like people don't fill out surveys because they want to remain anonymous. However, that to me would link, you'd be able to report on that, like who said, yes, they want that additional opportunity. How does your company ensure that anonymous end user ability?
So there's a technical way that we prevent anybody from knowing what was said to anybody else. So, I could talk about encryption. So we encrypt at the database level and at the application level, but I think you're talking about more like just how do you trust without the technical jargon, right? Is that what you mean, Crystal? Yes. So when you first interact with Max, it's going to try to figure out, oh, Carolyn is interested in data science, in people operations, and in cross-cultural communication. It's going to go look up and see, is there any other person who's ever talked to Max who has that similar profile? What's worked for them? So it doesn't know the name of those other people, nor does it know my name. It just knows I'm, XK1157, and my profile is similar to this other one. This other person really appreciated mentoring that came from different parts of the organization. So it's going to be more likely to recommend something that's worked for somebody similar to me, but it's just a unique identifier. It's not my name or any personal identifiable information. Does that help?
All right.
Crystal?
I think she said yes.
It does, yeah.
Okay.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
It.
All right, next question over to you, Mariel.
Thanks, Carolyn. I remember, I think a year ago.
Oh, did you? I'm back.
It's gotten more refined. So it's
like a bad penny, I'm back.
No. So since we're a year later, I'm really curious about your what you've learned out in the ecosystem, and how has that impacted your go-to-market plan? Specifically, if you're a new age EAP, is there a partnership opportunity there for go-to-market?
Good question. So I'll say one of the most important things that we found over the past year is that organizations, in essence, we're a connector between giving people a safe place to talk about what's really on their mind and be connected to something. So what organizations want, what we're hearing is they want to connect with things they already have in place, like an EAP, like a learning management system, like training that's already out there, or a mentorship program, or even information on a new emerging leaders program. So it's very customizable. It can be trained to point to all these different solutions or existing things that a company already has, where they can get much more use out of something that they already have. And then we're just really the connector between how people feel and what might help them, that gradually tunes itself over time.
Okay, and final question over to you, Sarah.
Hello, this is fun. I like it that he's got a name, Max. Have a relationship. So looking at the cost that you said, I think it was $4 an employee per month. So a 500-person company is going to be spending $24,000 a year on this. And of course, it goes up for a bigger company, which is a pretty significant expense to incur depending on the status of the company. So I'm curious what size of organizations you're targeting and how you might address that with the different organizations to make it less limiting.
Sure. So actually, as soon as a company gets close to 500, we actually deeply discount for volume, for the exact reason that you talked about, Sarah. So our largest 7,000, and I'm sorry, the rest of your question, Sarah, was you wanted to know what's our typical size. Is usually 50 to 250. That's kind of where we have most of our clients, but we do have one that's 7,000. And we just recently got a contract with the U.S. Air Force, where their service members are going to be able to open up and talk anonymously about what they need. Max is going to connect them to a solution. So it's a little bit different use case, but same underlying technology. And of course, it's customizable. So it can take them to, somewhere they can get help. And sometimes it's hard to ask for help about workplace issues. It's hard to just raise your hand and say, I need help. Yeah. That's what we're doing. Yeah.
Great.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Caroline. And while the judges write down some notes, how can attendees find out more about Humaxa?
So we're at humaxa.com, www.humaxa.com. You can reach out to us, schedule meetings, take a look at a demo. There's some videos you can look at. We'd love to connect with you and hear your feedback.
Right. Fantastic. Thank you very much for being here. All right. Let's go on to our sixth and final participant for tonight, Speakfully.
Hi there, my name is Jana Morin, CEO and co-founder of Speakfully. Speakfully is a modern-day anonymous workplace reporting platform that we like to say employees actually will use. If you're thinking about a traditional reporting hotline that still exists today and has been the traditional method for organizations to give to their employees to be able to report, they aren't very effective and a lot of employees don't use them. Why don't they use them? The lack of transparency when something is submitted kind of goes into a black cloud and people don't really know what happens with it. It's a one-to-one, it's a one-way conversation. The employee reports and then the organization doesn't have the ability to communicate at all after that to be able to get more information to take action. It's a very sterile way of reporting. It's very intimidating, not very inviting. And lastly, there isn't really any data and analytics that come along with it from an organization side, allowing them to be more proactive, getting to the smaller issues before they become big problems. A few years ago, I left an organization because of mistreatment that I experienced from my superior. And when I left there, I reflected a lot on what I wish I would have had as an employee during that time, but also what I wish the organization would have had in order for me to come forward sooner than what I did. They had a traditional workplace hotline, and I didn't use it for a lot of the reasons that I mentioned earlier, and that's really what Speakfully is solving for. How are we solving for that? We're allowing the employee to be able to anonymously report via our Speakfully portal, but not only that, we're giving the organization the ability to communicate and message back and forth with the employee, allowing them to be able to get more information to take action. We are also allowing the employee to be able to log multiple experiences at a time and then submit when ready, allowing them to be able to get to the root of the problem. And we're also giving the organization some real-time data and analytics so that they can be more proactive, get in front of those smaller issues before they become big problems like you see almost in the press on a daily basis. And lastly, the accessibility piece, making sure that not only employees that are sitting in front of a desk have easy access to be able to report, but also people out in the field. Between all those features that I mentioned there, we truly believe that we can positively impact these organizations, really create a positive, trustworthy culture, and between employee and employers, allow them to be able to thrive together and be able to come out of it in a better space, because the organization is giving them a safe, private way to be able to speak up and have a voice, but also they're getting that real-time data and analytics to be able to help them make some decisions and prioritize, maybe some of the things that they're currently working on within their organization. Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here and looking forward to the Q&A portion. Thank you.
All right, great presentation, Anna, and welcome to the stage. And for this round,
thank you so much. Sorry for no slides. I hope I was engaging enough, just me. And so I didn't even think about slides. All I was thinking about was 3 minutes. I got to talk fast.
By the way, love seeing your dog in the background.
Oh yeah,
we got to thank
she's ready.
Him or her for joining.
It's 8 o'clock where I am, so she's wondering what I'm doing.
All right, Mariel, you want to go ahead and get us started with this round?
Sure. So kind of thinking back to a couple other questions that I heard for other kind of related products. Curious about how this product or the solution balances kind of the anonymity with the reporting from the employer side, because obviously we want this to be actionable for HR.
Correct. Yep, absolutely. So yeah, one of the things that we talk a lot about is how we're different than a traditional reporting hotline, because like your point exactly, we hear all the time that organizations don't prefer it to be anonymous a lot of the times, because to your point, there's no way for them to be able to do anything, especially if they don't get enough information in order to be able to take action, right? And so it kind of is like this ongoing toxic circle, because someone submits to HR anonymously, and then an HR can't do anything about it because they don't have enough information to actually take action. The employee then feels like they're not doing anything, but they don't really know because there's no communication. And so then it just kind of is like this toxic thing where it just keeps going, and then a lack of trust happens. And then they say, well, I don't want to report anymore because they're not doing anything. When in reality, you just can't do anything, or, you are working on it. So that's why we wanted the ability to be able to allow the employee to still anonymously report, because generally when they do that, it's for a reason. Like they're nervous, they're scared, and they just aren't entirely sure what's going to happen. Even you could tell them all day long what's going to happen, but it still is a very scary act to do. But then give the organization the ability to message back and forth with them if they anonymously communicate. So that's the one thing, and the one solve for that is that, okay, let's try to figure out how the organization can still be able to keep that conversation open and try to get more information to take action, so that that doesn't, it's not a one-way communication street where it's just the employee submitting and the organization can't do anything. And then that's in hopes to be able to kind of help build that trust, and potentially maybe they will disclose who they are at one point if they actually start to feel more comfortable with the process.
Okay, fantastic. Next question over to you, Sarah.
Well, I love the name, because I've had a lot of frustration in my career with employees not speaking fully, finding out after I leave the company.
It took some time, but we found it. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So I appreciate what you just said, and actually led perfectly into what I wanted to ask you. So I have worked at companies where we had an anonymous reporting line, and we had the ability to respond to that employee and write to them, ask them questions, ask them if there's a certain point where we can't do anything more, to say, are you willing to speak with somebody, to open that up and have conversation back and forth so they understand what the limitations are. But we do write back and forth and can communicate with them. So I'm wondering what is truly different about this system.
Yeah. So we have two different products. We have Speakfully Now and Speakfully Pro. And Speakfully Pro is our more robust product. And that's the one that has a little bit that stands out more than Speakfully Now. Speakfully Now is very similar to what you're talking about. And it's kind of like a gateway to get to our Speakfully Pro for people that just kind of want to put their toes in the water and maybe potentially upgrade at renewal. But our Speakfully Pro is the more robust. It has a couple different things that make it different. One is we allow the employee to be able to, it's a more holistic approach. So it's account-based. And so where the employees can go in, they have there's lots of different things that they can do within it outside of the reporting, but the reporting is the bread and butter of it. And what they can do is they can log multiple experiences at a time. and then submit when ready. So lots of time, one thing happens to you, you aren't entirely sure what it is, if it's even anything, and you're just not ready to submit to HR yet. And so we allow you to go in and just let it sit there until you're ready to submit it. Maybe you come back again, something else happens, you write about it, and then you're like, okay, this is something bigger than what I thought it was. I'm ready to submit both of these experiences. When they do that, they get a pre-populated question and answer that they have to answer before they actually type in the text. And that metadata that comes from those Q&As is some preemptive analytics that the organization gets to kind of get in front of they don't see the who or the what until someone actually submits, but they kind of can see what the hot spots are based off of what those questions are, because those questions and answers that are pre-populated are customizable to the organization themselves. So you're thinking about when they're actually knowing someone is writing about something, what do you want to ensure that you kind of are knowing or finding out, even if they haven't submitted yet? If you have multiple locations, maybe you want them to specify what location they're in, dependent on the organization.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. And last but not least, last question over to you, Crystal.
Hi, thank you for pitching the concept to us. I took a look at your website last night, and I do believe there was a piece where there was a service for individuals that were free of charge. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So how are you going to sustain that component of the company?
Yeah. So the free product was originally what we built first, right? We wanted to ensure that people who are experiencing something like I had experienced in the workplace, it's a very scary space. You don't know what's happening. It's very confusing. Wanted to ensure that if your organization doesn't have a product like Speakfully, that you had a place to go and that we weren't charging you for it. So that's kind of where the free product comes into play. And essentially what that is it allows the employee to go in and log about their experiences. And what they can do is if their org doesn't have Speakfully, they can export it, what they write in the platform itself when they're ready. And they can actually take that PDF of the export of all the things that they put in there, and then they can then submit it to the organization themselves. That being said, it can't be one or the other. The free product, you can't say, everyone in their organization, you go tell them all to go use the free product and submit to you, because it just won't on your own. It doesn't work necessarily that way. Although in theory, it kind of sounds like that, but it wouldn't really work in that sense. But that's a really good question.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Hannah, for being here tonight. And while the judges write down some notes, how can attendees find out more about Speakfully?
You can go check out our website like Crystal did last night at www.speakfully.com. And all of our social media handles are Speakfully now.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much for being here. All right, and believe it or not, that went by very quickly. That actually completed the round of pitches. So let's give a hand to our competitors. And I do have to say that this was a very, very competitive round of the competition. Make no mistake about it. So the judges are now going to deliberate on the pitches that you just saw. And while they're deliberating, we have some great information that we wanted to share with you. Especially a short video on our upcoming talent conference that's being held at the Gaylord Rockies Resort, April 10th through the 13th in Denver, Colorado. We also have a virtual booth for our Knowledge Center, which is one of the best member benefits that you can get for being a SHRM member. There's also going to be a poll out there so that you can vote for your favorite startup. So please make sure and vote for that. But we're going to be back shortly in about 10 minutes with the decision. So hang tight. Thank you very much.
We are standing on the precipice of a new future. Never before have so many workplace challenges been present. But with each challenge comes opportunity, a chance to disrupt what was and create what will be. Now, more than ever, the time is now for HR to lead workplace innovation. And innovation is the key reason why SHRM launched the first ever Better Workplaces Challenge Cup. Earlier this year, we put out a call for workplace innovators solving the most pressing workplace challenges. Over 150 teams of entrepreneurs answered the call and competed in 17 local rounds that were co-hosted with SHRM chapters nationwide. Judge panels made up of SHRM volunteers selected the top 3 pitches from each local round to advance to the regional semifinals. The 5 regional winners competed in the finals event held at this year's annual conference.
Innovation, at the end of the day, is critical if we intend to reset, rethink, reimagine HR. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Damon John.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being in HR.
From all of these impressive presentations, only 2 innovators remain.
The 2 finalists will be Simba, and the next one is Compt.
And the winner of SHRM's 2021 and first ever Better Workplaces Challenge Cup is
Compt. Oh my God.
We work. That's what we do.
We get up and get at it because our work defines us.
What do I aspire to be?
This is my break, what I've been working so hard for.
I have big dreams for myself. I know what I want for my career and my family.
I want to know that what I do matters.
I want to be better than I was yesterday.
It's a small business, but my employees and their families rely on us to succeed.
Beyond our sense of self.
Our work is life.
It's entry level, but I'm going to prove I have something to offer.
This is my chance to build a career.
So close to that down payment.
These college fees are stacking up. Gotta ask for that raise.
I have to start putting more aside for retirement.
As HR professionals, we impact all of this.
What we do matters.
SHRM is an organization that represents some 300,000 HR professionals across the globe. But most importantly, we touch and affect, influence the lives of 100 million workers every day. You can't find a CEO today who is not talking about people and people issues.
And what we're for is safe and dignified workplaces for everyone.
Every profession.
Every day.
All around the world.
HR is there.
My work gives me confidence.
My work gives me hope.
I can provide for my family.
My kids will have things I never had. I enjoy giving back to my community.
I have a sense of my own value.
I am finally an expert at something.
I want to instill a work ethic in my kids.
Take care of my folks.
I want to make a contribution to this world.
I love HR.
It's the most human profession.
My work gives me purpose.
My role in HR gives me pride.
HR matters.
HR is an opportunity to change lives.
What kind of world
will you create?
In one of the most challenging years our businesses have ever witnessed, SHRM Research was there every step to answer your toughest workplace questions. This was possible because SHRM members like you provided real-time insights to our team of researchers. We wanted to take time to share some of our more surprising and noteworthy findings from this year.
COVID has had a devastating impact on businesses across the U.S.,
particularly small businesses, but many have proven resilient. SHRM research found that over 2 in 5 small businesses had started rethinking the way they do business, and a third had found a new way of delivering existing services due to COVID.
Over 1/3 of American workers reported that they don't feel comfortable discussing race at work. This perception differs along racial lines, with 45% of Black workers saying their workplace discourages discussions of racial injustice issues at work, compared to just 30% of white workers. Interestingly, 70% of HR professionals we interviewed said these discussions are okay at work. This is an opportunity for HR professionals and organizational leaders to guide employees to have thoughtful, civil, and respectful conversations about race and create workplaces where everyone feels included and can express their points of view.
Some of the benefits that employers adopted during COVID-19 might be here to stay. Over 2/3 of organizations, 68%, said they would probably or definitely adopt broader or more flexible work-from-home policies for all workers following the pandemic.
So much of this timely body of research wouldn't be possible without our members who share their everyday lived experiences at work. By participating in future studies, you can continue to help SHRM answer the most pressing questions that impact work, workers, and workplaces across the globe. Together, we can achieve our mission to create better workplaces for a better world.
Now that she's a manager, she's wondering, exactly how do I manage? She'll acquire the skills and confidence she needs with PMQ from SHRM, a self-paced, interactive, and entertaining learning journey. In every binge-worthy episode, managers face challenges, see the impact of their decisions, and test their growing skills with gamified assessments. Perform well, and they can earn the PMQ. Better managers create better workplaces. Pre-order SHRM's new People Manager qualification now.
All right, and we are back. Thank you, judges, for the deliberation. And once again, let's give a hand to these great companies that competed today. As mentioned at the beginning, 2 of them are the ones that are going to be advancing to compete in the semifinals of the 2022 Better Workplaces Challenge Cup. The top 2 companies for this segment are Hermes and Humaxa. So major congratulations to the 2 of you, and we look forward to your participation in the semifinals. Judges, any words you'd like to say to our winners? Sarah, starting off with you.
Yeah, I would love to just encourage all of you to continue with what you're doing. There weren't any of you that we felt weren't doing something really useful and beneficial. It was really close between all of you. So please don't be discouraged. For those of you that aren't moving on, because it was really close, and I'm excited to see what comes out of all of this.
Okay. Crystal?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for inviting me and good luck in the next round.
And last but not least, Mariel, over to you.
Thanks, Guillermo. I really enjoyed all the pitches. All really interesting businesses. It was, in fact, a very difficult decision. And I wish everyone the best of luck.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, judges. It was great having all 3 of you. And to the participants out there, once again, thank you very much for being here. And obviously, to you out there, thank you very much for attending. We hope you enjoyed this round of the competition, and we have plenty more to go. We're only halfway through the first rounds here. So as mentioned at the beginning, we said that this event qualifies for 2 PDCs towards your SHRM CP or SCP certification, and the code to use for that is 22Z as in zebra HGJQ, and we're going to be displaying that in a second. Next up is going to be our 6th first round segment, which is going to be on Tuesday, March 29th. And believe it or not, this is actually our first international segment, and it's going to be taking us to Sao Paulo, Brazil. And as already mentioned, the top 2 companies from that round are also going to be moving on to the semifinals, and then the semifinalists obviously get to go on to the finals at the SHRM Annual Conference and Exposition, which is being held June 12th through the 15th in New Orleans, and we really hope you can join us there. Please be sure to visit betterworkplaceschallengecup.com and to stay informed and register to attend our future events. We hope you can join us. Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you for being here.